Hey everybody, Coach Rienzo here from BTB Lax. Today we want to go over fast break offense. First and foremost though, what is a fast break? All right, well a fast break is a 4-on-3, transitioning from defense to offense. If it's a 5-on-3, a 5-on-4, or 6-on-5, something like that, that becomes a slow break, and we'll talk about that in another video. But a fast break is any 4-on-3 situation, okay? First and foremost, let's talk about some BTB keys that we want to go over. Remember that fewer passes is always better in a fast break. 1 or 2 passes at the most. Once you get into 3 and 4 passes, you risk the chance of turning over the ball, and also the defense has time to get in and match up. Time is definitely not your ally in a fast break situation. You've got maybe 2 or 3 seconds at the most to score, and then that defense is going to get in there and your fast break opportunity is going to be lost. So what that means is you want to score as quickly as possible. Okay, when you're starting out a fast break situation, the key thing to do first is to identify that it is a fast break. There's a lot of transition in lacrosse, back and forth, fast breaks, slow breaks, 6-on-6, ground balls in the midfield area. So when you do have a fast break situation, it's really important as attackmen and as midfielders, you identify it as a fast break. Once you've identified it, you need to communicate this to your teammates. Just because you know it's a fast break doesn't mean that all your teammates know that it is. And the terminology that you use in that situation depends on your own team and the terminology that they use. We particularly like to use just very simple terms like fast break, fast break. Right? Your team may have something else that you use, and whatever that is, you just use what your coach has taught you to do. But in our case, we're going to just use fast break as the term to identify a fast break. Simple enough. Next we want to do is we want to sprint into the position that you need to go to. Okay? It's important that you sprint, not jog, not run half speed, sprint as hard as you can. And while you're doing that, you're always keeping your head turned to the ball. If you're an attackman and you're running towards the goal area and you have your head turned away from the ball and your teammate's trying to pass you the ball, he's not going to be able to. So it's always important to keep your head turned to the play. Okay, now we're going to talk about the positioning on the field. All right, so with regards to positioning, we want to make sure that we're in this L formation. Okay, we'll talk about the defensive side of the ball in a minute in another video. But on the attack position, we're in an L formation. As the midfielder comes down the field with the ball, okay, the attack is already set up in these spots. The 2 low attackmen want to be about 5 yards from the goal to the side, on either side, and about 2 yards above the goal line extended. This is the low left attackman and the low right attackman. And you use the positioning coming away from the goal as opposed to looking at the goal. This attackman is known as the point attackman, and he's located about 18 yards above the goal line extended or about 2 yards inside the box. And again, he's about 5-6 yards outside the midfield, the midpoint area. Okay, so as the ball carrier comes down, first and foremost what we want to do is we want to try and score. So this midfielder, as he approaches, if nobody picks him up, he's just going to bring it right down the middle and get a shot. If the defense is coached well, which most of them probably will be, they're going to stop this midfielder right here. Okay, so the first look always is to draw the point defenseman and then to hit the point man. So as we'll put in a few defensemen here, we got our 3 defensemen in a triangle, which we'll talk again in a different video. But this defenseman will be taught to stop the ball carrier. Okay, in that case, the midfielder is going to draw that defenseman, carry it inside the box about 2 or 3 yards, running as hard as you possibly can. Okay, and then we're going to just hit this point man. More often than not, 95 or 99% of the time, this is your look. If you don't have a lane directly to the goal, you're going to hit this point man right here. Okay? Once you make that pass, this midfielder wants to throttle down and just kind of stay in this area right here. So as he passes it, he's going to stay right here. So we're kind of keeping good spacing. We're staying in a box so that we're nice and spread out and we're putting as much pressure on the defense as possible. Once this pass is made over to this attackman, okay, let's erase these lines here. All right, the ball's now here. This attackman basically has 4 things that he could do. But the primary first look, well, obviously if he's open, he can take his own shot. But the primary first look is going to be this diagonal look over here to the low attackman. That's usually the one that's going to be there. And again, we'll talk about the defense again in another video, but the defense is going to be rotating like this once that pass is made. so it's likely that this look is going to be there. Okay? So that's really your first predominant look. But your additional looks that you have besides this diagonal is back to the midfielder, okay, or this low attackman down here, the low right attackman. Either one of these is a viable option depending upon how the defense plays and who's open. All right, one thing to keep in mind actually with these two low attackmen, whether it's this diagonal pass or the pass down the side, either one of them, okay, we want to make sure, and this is a BTB key, we want to make sure they catch the ball coming up the field. So as we pass, let's use this as an example, pass it down the side. We don't want to just stand flat-footed and catch and shoot. He wants to anticipate that when he sees the guy his teammate getting ready to pass, he wants to take a couple steps and a little bit of a curl up the field to receive that pass. What that does, that puts him in what we call the quad threat position, ready to catch, shoot, feed, or dodge, okay? But it also increases his shooting angle. You can see if he's to catch and shoot from here or keep coming across the front, he's got a better shooting angle than if he just stays back here and shoots there, okay? And the same thing is true for that diagonal pass. If the diagonal pass is made, we want to meet the pass with a little bit of a curl, okay? We don't want to just stay in the corner. We want to meet it with a bit of a curl. And then if we can, keep coming. If not, shoot it right away. So you can see that's increasing our shooting angle as opposed to staying back in the corner. And the biggest thing for these three attackmen, and even the midi if he gets it back, is that we want to shoot for net and we want to bury the shot. Don't waste too much time. Don't try and do too much razzle-dazzle, 4 or 5 fakes. Look for a good spot on the net and just bury the shot. And again, we want to make maybe one pass, we hit the point man, one pass here or one pass down the side. We don't want to make 3 and 4 passes because that's just a chance for a turnover and a chance for the defense to get in and get set. So that's fast break offense.
Did you know that there's just 2 simple things that separate the average youth and high school lacrosse player from the elite guys that are ready to go on to play in college and beyond? Yep, just 2 simple things. We teamed up with college All-American and multiple MLL All-Star Mike Kimmel to put together a completely free, 45-minute long, 3-part video training series that's going to show kids and parents exactly what those 2 things are, what you need to be working on if you want to take your game to the next level. And nope, it's got nothing to do with hitting the gym or running till you puke. If you're serious about improving as a player and you want to become one of the best guys on your team, get more playing time, and catch the eye of college recruiters, you have to see this free video training. Just click the link below in the description of this video and you'll be taken to a page where you can ask to receive instant access to these free videos. Join the thousands of high school and youth players that have already seen Mike's awesome training and take control of your game today.